Okay, welcome to the tutorial of penetration testing. First of all, hacking a system which you do not have permission to hack is in fact illegal. So either test this tutorial on your own separate virtual machines or on your own systems that's on the same network, or only when you have a written permission to test the security of the system. And first of all, we have also to before we can start off, we need to ask ourselves what is our goal when we conduct the penetration test, and what do we want to achieve when we have control over the system. So in this scenario, we will need to achieve full control over the target system, and we want to do a bit extra, and we want to create a folder on the target desktop so that the user that actually uses that system can actually acknowledge that someone else has in fact control over the PC. Now the two different systems that we will be using is the Windows XP Professional and the Kali Linux system you see at the moment. The XP system is here on a virtual machine as well, and the software we will be using to launch the virtual machines is the VMware Player. It is open source software, free, available to the public. There is a version that you can buy with much more features and greater possibilities that is available to you, but the free version of VMware Player will be more than enough for the purpose of this tutorial. Now to start off, we can go to the Kali Linux just to show that the tool that we will be using is the Kali Linux system services, the Metasploit service, and we can start that one off. Sometimes it can take a while, luckily this time not. But first, before we can go on, we just have to make sure that our two systems we are going to use is properly set up. Now for the Kali Linux system, you can download the operating system from the actual site. You can just enter into Google the Kali Linux operating system, download, and it will reroute you to a possible site where you can download the Kali Linux system. And the XP one, you would have to install a legal copy of the Windows XP. And just to set up it properly, you can conduct the clean installation of the Windows XP, and just to make sure that we can have a successful ending, you can go into the Microsoft Windows XP Professional and go to their to the control panel, turn off the Windows firewall, as well as you can turn off the automatic updates. And although it's not necessary, it is advisable to make sure that you can have a static IP address for your target PC, so that you don't need to constantly go and check what is the target PC IP address and what's the specific details of it, that you can actually just remember the one specific static IP address. In this case, we have made our static IP address 10.0.0.50 with a subnet mask of 255.0.0.0 and a default gateway, and as well as the DNS server, so that the XP operating system indeed have an internet connection as well. The last setup we need to conduct is to ensure that the Windows security is in fact does not have a virus protection. So any antivirus should be deactivated or disabled or not installed or just out of date. Once this is done, we can go back to our Kali Linux system where we have started our Metasploit software. And just to the same process to set up Kali Linux, you just do a clean installation where the installation information and guidelines is in fact on their site to how to do it properly, and then put it on the internet and do a proper update to all the software that's needed, and especially do an update for Metasploit to ensure that you have the latest information or exploits available that is within Metasploit. Once Metasploit is started, or the service of Metasploit is started, we can run the Armitage. Let's just quickly go into the operating system. There we go. Then we can run Armitage, which is a fantastic tool available to Metasploit users. That is okay. Then if the pop-up comes to start Metasploit RPC server, then you can just say yes, it's necessary. Then it starts all the necessary Metasploit framework for you. Now the reason why we use Armitage is because it's a fantastic GUI interface to conduct the console input to do the same purpose. So it's a bit more user friendly, and it's a much more to get a better understanding of how Metasploit can be used and to what extent it can be used. And usually it will automatically check the network for possible IP addresses it could be linked to. And before we go on, just to ensure that you do have a connection from the Kali Linux system to the XP system, you can go to the terminal within Kali Linux and just ping the XP professional, or if you are using another operating system to target, you can just ping that specific system. In this case it will be 10.0.0.50, and once you can see that the computer is being pinged, you can acknowledge that there is in fact a communication line between the two systems. Then we can go back to the Armitage and we can see, okay, we want to go to the 10.0.0.50 target PC. Then if there is in fact no computer available here, then you can do it manually by going to the host and adding a host. The host is your target PC, which could be your target or just a random PC or a system within the network. So once you have added your host IP address, then we can click on the target PC, go again to the host. If you want to do a more intense scan or a more comprehensive scan, you can do it as well. The comprehensive scan does in fact take very much longer because it's a much more in detail scan, but for this purpose we can only go for a Metasploit framework scan, which is what is necessary to get all the exploits and auxiliaries, what is necessary from the target PC. Here we can see that the TCP ports are open from the target PC we want to attack. Once this is done, we can go back to the computer or the target PC or the target system, whatever you want to name it. Then we can go to the attacks and find the attacks. This could take a while. It depends what hardware you have given the virtual machine, or if you have installed it on your computer with a clean Kali Linux system. Then it depends on your computer hardware. Once it is done, it will give you a message to say that the attack analysis is complete, and you will now see an attack menu attached to each host in the target's window. Happy hunting. So now when we go to some of the network nodes won't have a attack tab because there weren't any specific exploits available to be attacked. So if we go to our own target PC again, or to the 10.0.0.51, and we right click on that PC, we can see that the attack tab is now available to us, and with a few different types of attacks we can launch. Most of these attacks would probably not always work. It is depending on the type of applications or programs, software that is in fact installed on the target PC. For this tutorial, we can conduct the SMB attack type with a MS08_067_net API. It is also used most publicly because it's a very exploitable vulnerable of the Windows XP system. Now when you choose an attack to launch, it gives a typical name of the attack, the description of the attack, and the several types of applicable detail to the attack. You can then also specify the target, that is if you know the specific type of operating system and service packs that is installed into the system. But if the feature is available to automatic target, then I would recommend to automatic target it, especially if this is one of your first ones. You can go in fact to show advanced options a bit later if you want to go a bit more into the attack. For this tutorial, we can just launch this attack, and in the console we will receive a tab that says exploit, and we can see here that all the necessary Metasploit framework console commands we would have entered here, like the set lhost, the typical IP addresses, the port numbers, all those type of information is now in fact through Armitage we can do it much more effectively and at a very fast manner that makes it much more easier and user friendly for any hacker that would be wanting to test or test these types of security measures. Now when we look at the system or the exploit attack that we run is now done, we can also see that it started off by running in the background. It started the bind handler automatically detecting the target. With a fingerprint we could see that the target we are attacking is in fact a Windows XP operating system, and it has a service pack 3 and it's a language English. Now that we can also see with a red and the lightning coming out of the back of the computer screen, we can in fact see that the system is now in our control. If we right click now on the computer, we can see there's still more attacks that we can do, but it's not necessary because we already have access to the computer. There would be a Metasploit 1. Please excuse the announcement or the pronouncing of the word. It could be wrong. But the Metasploit 1, we can access, interact, explore, get a pivoting setup or remove one. But just to show that we have in fact control over the PC, we can see and explore the browser files. Then the files, all the directory files we can see here of the target PC, just to show that we can in fact make changes to the system. We can go to the desktop of the user, and just to show that we can in fact make a directory or delete several details or applications, stop a process, etc. Here is the desktop of the user from the Windows XP system. Now we can make a directory just to show the user that we have in fact control over the PC. Now we can see that there is a new directory within the system, just to show that we do in fact have a folder now in the Windows XP system that we have control over this PC. Just to show that we also can see the different processes that is running in the XP in the XP system, we can see that there is now in fact a Minesweeper task or process that is running. We can go back to the Kali Linux system and right click again on the computer screen, go to the Explore tab and show the processes. We can then also see the different types of processes that is in fact running, and all the different types of system tools and processes that is in fact running. We can see all the services that is also running for all the ports that is open and where all the ports are using, which sites are appropriate, etc. When we go to the files, we can see there it is. There's all the processes. We can stop a process if you wanted to. We can also go and, if the user has installed a webcam, we can take a webcam shot or a screenshot of the current system. So here we can see the actual folder that we have created there, and the Minesweeper the user is in fact has opened. In addition to this, we can also go and do a keystroke logging. Now basically what keystroke or log keystrokes attack does is basically it records all the keyboard keys that is entered by the target PC. Once the attack is launched, we can see that the process in the background is running and it is recording keystrokes now. So when we go to the XP virtual machine, we can now see that when we go to the notepad and just enter a few random data, then we will see in fact that when we go to Kali Linux again, that all the keystrokes that is entered is in fact recorded by the system without the XP user actually acknowledging that the system is in fact hacked. So that will also conclude the tutorial for today. So just to sum it up again, we have used Armitage within the Metasploit software to gain access on a GUI interface through the Metasploit to gain access to the system, to the XP target PC, and we did in fact get a message to the user that we can see that we have in fact control over the PC, the folder that we have created, and we could see also the key logging that we have entered there. And I just want to say thank you for watching, and please do subscribe and have a wonderful day further.